Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the aftermath, the slate, the callback, the chemistry read. This is Edition Tips Volume 3. This is the last chapter of of 3 months of work that we entertained with the creative community. I'm so proud of the creative community to come out today, taking out time of their schedule on a Saturday to kind of join production, right? To get into production mode, to kind of improve, to learn new skills, and to kind of deepen what we've done in these previous 3 months, aka preparing ourselves with the right fundamentals, the right structure, and the right tools, and with the right mindset for the audition, delivering a great audition, having a beautiful, confident, genuine, impactful exchange when we're auditioning, when we're reading, when we're in the room. And then, maybe there is a chance we get called back, right? We have a callback. We have to present ourselves a bit more thoroughly, a bit more granularly, and maybe we even get to the chemistry read. And there, of course, the chances of us getting hired and getting booked for the motion picture, of course, increased dramatically. So in today's episode, the final chapter of this trinity, right, of the audition tips, we're gonna highlight that, how important it is, what a callback is, what a chemistry read is, what you need to insert into your slate. And let me say this. First of all, I'm thrilled about this because every time we get the chance to present ourselves, it means somebody is listening to us, like paying attention to what we do. And we never should take that for granted. So whether that's a self-tape that we're sending in, or whether that's like a physical audition or a physical reading that we had, right? It's always somebody paying attention to what we say and to what we do. And this is a privilege, guys. In a world where we have 8 billion screens and 8 billion cameras and everybody is distracted constantly, having someone who gets hired, who gets money to listen to what we say, and evaluating and assessing kind of if we are the right match for the role, if we fit into the project, if we are the team player that they are actually looking for, that's a great thing. Don't ever, 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 ever take that for granted, right? Welcome to this Audition Tips Volume 3, because it's also a great chance to kind of, fortify our talents, to get more tools into our toolbox, to forge and to sharpen our axe, right? Because like Abraham Lincoln once said, if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would use the first 4 hours to sharpen the axe. And this is what we do today. We sharpen the axe. Our mental skills, our vocal skills, our physical skills, right? Because in the end, this is what we have to tell, right? Our story kind of goes through that. And most importantly, guys, this is a great opportunity also for me to kind of reflect on this knowledge. And because in my career so far, 35 years of acting, 25 plus years of industry experience shooting in front of the camera, or being on stage, and kind of being part of theater ensembles, or as a coach for the last 11 years with my beautiful wife Alessandra, my partner in crime. We've been doing this together now with all these crazy creators all over the globe, from Africa to India, from the Philippines to West Coast, East Coast over here, from Italy to the UK. It's just a magnificent, right? You need to understand what potential you have. In the palm of your hand, there is this thing called the cell phone. And this smart device is, of course, it's a diabolical machine, right? It's a demonical entity if you get used by it. But if you can use it, then it's an angelic entity. Then it becomes a heavenly device, right? And so it's like with everything in life, if you exaggerate, then of course it will harm you. If you use it smartly, then of course it will empower you. So you have the choice whether you go out of this empowered, or again in the passive mode, right? I'm trying my best to share all my most effective, most precious tools that I've gathered so far in my life as an actor, as a coach, as a husband, as a cat lover, as an artist, as a creative, as someone who's also a visual artist, right? I'm a painter, I'm a rapper. So all these skills I've through the reflection of the duels, of the tactical analysis, and all these things, I'm trying to condense them as much as I can, so you can get away, you can go away from this presentation today and immediately start to work, immediately start to implement it. Don't waste any time, guys. take that thing inside of your hand, record something, send it out. And today we're going to talk about what happens afterwards, the slate, the callback, the chemistry read. Let's dive right into it. Really excited about today's episode, guys. Audition Tips Volume 3 is about to start. So the slate. What is the slate? Why should we say anything, right, at the end of an audition or at the end of a self-tape, right? Why is there even a need to pronounce any other words, right? We have pronounced all the words necessary for the role, right? For the role. But of course, the casting director, the production company, the director likes to know us personally also a bit more intimately and from a private side, and not just getting to know the role, because they want to assess not only if we can perform, but if we can also stay in the team. If we are great team players, if we are fit to run this picture. Some pictures have immense budgets. Some pictures, they are shooting in dangerous locations or in places that are, maybe somewhere out there, right? Sometimes the picture has been shot with a small team, and the actor needs to kind of, it's not like a big set, and therefore there is not the usual luxury going on. So you have to develop a certain mindset in order to be there. And they want to assess all these things. If you are fit for the picture, if you're fit for the team, if you're fit for the production, for all the circumstances, if you can really, kind of live up to the expectation and to the occasion, not only as a performer, but also as a human being. So therefore, the slate, the final pitch, right, is not something that you can only use, of course, for entertainment purposes. This is our slate. This is us. This is every time we need to get into a door, right? Every time we need to get into a room, right? Pass a door. Maybe we need to deliver a slate, right? And a slate can start, a negotiation can start at something, with something banal like, hey, let me get into the club, right? And I'm the only guy here. I don't have any girls with me. So how can I convince the bouncer to get into the club? So I deliver a slate. Or, just like, hey, you have something funny to tell, and then you convince him and he lets you into the club. Maybe it's something more important, like negotiating an apartment, right? I'm fit. I'm your next tenant. I need to get into this place, right? Or the slate is there to kind of negotiate a contract or a salary, or the slate is there to negotiate something with your partner, right? Pitches are everything nowadays. Slates are not just happening at the end of a self-tape or an audition, a physical audition. Slates are happening all day long, wherever we go. Have you ever turned on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, anything? You see slates all over the place. Hey, this is me, bada boom, bada bum, bada bum. This is Gary Wee, bada boom, bada bum, bada bum. This is Rockstar XYZ. They all have slates to sell you something, to negotiate something, to get in touch with you, right? So a slate is not only, oh yeah, okay, what should I say? And we'll talk about that. A slate represents us. It's our pitch to the casting director. And the casting director can be the casting director that is hired by the production company in order to choose the most adequate actor for the motion picture, for the movie, for the TV, for series, for the whatever it is. Or the casting director can be AKA somebody normal, right? That is outside of entertainment industry, that you need to convince that you are the right fit for whatever project you have in mind, right? Sometimes it's a venture capitalist that likes to invest in your firm. Somebody, it's an employer that needs to hire you, right? So you never know for which reason and where you can use your slates. And let me tell you, slates are like water, right? They make us, they break us, because there's this funny thing over here at the COACHMC studio. We've been working really with like amazing actors, hundreds of actors, and they're all, I feel like most of them are all pretty amazing. They can imitate dialects, they have different accents, they have great ways of presenting themselves, they can learn huge, chunks of text in a very short time, and they have no problems in learning new skills. All of a sudden, they have to deliver a slate, like a 1-minute presentation, and they completely crumble. all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm Lorenzo. Yeah, I'm 47 years old. Yeah, I'm 5 feet 9. Yeah, what can I say? I love to read books. I'm with ADP Talents. It's like all of a sudden there, this whole confidence, this whole, body that was auditioning beforehand successfully and quite convincingly. All of a sudden we have that other actor, right? That other human being that isn't secure, that isn't clear, that isn't convincing at all. And so you want to make sure that the slate matches your delivery. And even if your delivery was bad, then you can use your slate, because I always recommend do your slate at the end, right? Then you can use your slate, right, to kind of at least leave with a positive note, leave with something to think about, leave with a good impression, because the last thing they will see and hear is, of course, the thing that they will remember most. And when I say they, I mean, what is those they, right? The watchers, what are those people? Like they, I mean the casting director, sometimes the production company or the production assistant, sometimes the assistant director. During an audition, there's especially for callbacks and chemistry reads, there is a bunch of people showing up. It's not necessarily only the casting director. And even if they are not showing up physically and you can't see them, that doesn't mean that they are not perceiving you. And here's another thing I want to get out of the room right immediately. They see you, guys. It doesn't matter how big you think you are, how small you think you are, right? Don't have any type of denigrating negative self-talk. Oh, they're not going to watch my self-tape anyway. That's not true. Stop saying that. That's just an excuse for not sending it in. That's just your ego that wants immediate validation. That's just, that thing that you want to get cuddled and pat on your back, like my wife needs sometimes to do. Is like, all is good. You are good. You are good enough, right? They see us. It doesn't matter how big or small we are. They perceive us. Even if you go to Hollywood, even if you're living in LA and you think I'm one waiter, like million other waiters that in reality is an actor, like million other actors, and they will never, never, never actually perceive me. That's not true. Hollywood is a village. Entertainment industry is a small town, even if it's worldwide, and everybody knows everybody. So make sure that every tape counts. Make sure that every physical audition is the audition, right? Make sure that you are thoroughly prepared, that you deliver your best material. And in the aftermath, you make sure that these things will match, right? Your personality, your energy level, and your persona, who you are, right? Your motive of being there in the first place. So don't crumble during the slate. Don't think it's not important or unnecessary, even though we've assisted also at many casting directors, at many audition processes, and yes, sometimes they're just listening to the slate. They're not completely paying attention. But saying that the slate is not important is a false statement. It is important. Like I said, sometimes you can even reevaluate a bad audition through a great slate. But definitely to leave people with some interesting, motivating, inspiring words that are also showing who you are on a human level, it's always a great thing to be memorable, to leave with a melody. I always say this, leave with a melody, because the melody gets remembered. The text never gets remembered. The melody does. And so when you leave with a melody, they will remember you, and recognizability and memory is one of the most important assets in entertainment industry, because believe me, they see you and they remember you if you make sure that you can be found. If you are not findable, you won't be found, if that makes sense. So let's jump right into it. I've prepared a tactical doodle. Who knows the COACHMC studio and has watched Open Class Doodles? That's a show that we have on YouTube every Tuesday at 6 p.m., every Thursday at 8 p.m. Knows that I, out of my, my old passion of being a writer, a graffiti writer, an artist, and all that, I love to break things down visually. And I want to invite you also through these tactical doodles to do the same, because once you break them down visually, you have a deeper understanding. And this is scientifically proven, right? Because the visual aspect goes also through our eyes into the limbic brain system. This is the second layer. It's the mid cortex of our brain, where we absorb the social component and the value of whatever type of information, whatever type of input our eyes and our ears are delivering to our brain. And therefore, this is the visceral part. This is the subconscious part as well. So what I love with these tactical doodles, and by the way, of course, you're more than welcome to jump to our YouTube channel these days, subscribe and watch the open class doodles. We have tactical doodles about everything. It ranges from being a great presenter, great public speaker. How can I reverse engineer charisma? What do I need for a successful career in entertainment? But also we can talk about Greek mythology, right? With my man Dragon Slayer Commentaries from the Dragon Slayer Commentaries channel. We talk about also about history, about recent events and all that. It's important to keep like an open mind for these beautiful aspects of art and history and knowledge, because they can inform us. All this is just a way of informing your system even more, right? To give you more input that is very valuable, and not the noise that we're getting out there, right? Because as soon as you step outside of your comfort zone, as soon as you go out, yes, it's true. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of insecurity, right? And we don't really know what to follow, who to follow, what to listen to, right? And so sometimes it gets tough to hear and listen to our own voice. And here, what we love to do is really to inform our subconscious as well, and not just our neocortex, right? To get information that is so valuable that you now have a filter where you can establish if something is noise or signal, if something is valuable or absolutely unnecessary. Okay? Because if you can train your brain to assess quickly and effectively if the information that comes in is noise or signal, again, that separates the men from the champions, the girls from the queens, the neophyte from the master. So what is a slate? It's a compendium of informations, right? Usually what I say, deliver the slate at the end. Even if you audition physically and the casting director, even if the casting director asks you, hey, because the casting director will sometimes ask you before the audition starts, hey, you want to deliver your slate? You want to deliver your pitch, your presentation? Because he thinks that you might be probably a bit nervous. And so therefore, to calm you down and to talk about yourself could be potentially a good strategy. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think sometimes the slate in the beginning can distract you. It can take too long. And let's say you deliver a bad slate, you get nervous, and the casting director has already a bad opinion about you. So deliver the slate at the end. Get your nervosity and channel your stage fright into the audition process. And at the end, leave with a great slate. So what should the slate contain in terms of information? If you're shooting a self-tape and you have the slate at the end, usually what they like you to see is that you, of course, call out your name, your height, your agent, where you are located, or where you can be also bookable. Let's say if you have like relatives that are living in New York, but you have also relatives living in Chicago and in Miami, you can say that you can book me in Miami, in New York, and in Chicago because I got relatives there, but you can state your current location. This is usually the information that they like to see. Definitely follow the instructions like always. But in the end, right, especially if you're auditioning live, if you're really physically in the room, when you feel like you still have a couple of seconds, right, where they're still paying attention to what you're saying, maybe you want to, chip in some of your passions. You want to talk about what you do in your private time. If you have like an exciting hobby, something very interesting that you do, maybe you have a band, or maybe you released a record, or maybe you're a break dancer, or maybe you're great at, trapeze or acrobatics, right? If you have something that is your passion, that drives you, that's very interesting about you, that could tell, that could convey a different message about you, definitely, put that into your slate. Like make it short, make it coincised, stay relaxed, stay calm, speak clearly, and just deliver these bullet points, nothing else. Yes, I can like definitely. This is a great like with a melody, right? I give you an example what I mean by that really quickly because this plays directly into the slate. And this is a great question, Victoria. It's a great question. So again, let's say I finished my audition. Now I go through my slate. I give you an example of a bad slate. Hi. So this is obviously Lorenzo. Yeah, I'm 47 years old. I'm with ADP Talents, living in Miami, and yeah, it was great auditioning for this. Thank you for your consideration. And oh yeah, you can book me from Miami or from New York, and sometimes also in Rome. And I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. This is definitely a role that I love. Thank you. Well, that had no consistency, no rhythm, no real value, right? No melody. I can't be remembered. Now, let's say I go on after my audition and I deliver my slate like this. Hey, my name is Lorenzo PATANè. I'm 47 years old. I'm 5'9". Well, maybe 5'10". Who knows it, right? Because sometimes my passport states this, sometimes it states that. I'm with IDP Talents. That I know for sure. And I'm in Miami, but also bookable in New York and in the beautiful eternal city of Rome because I still got relatives living there under the Colosseum. Yes, I visit them down there in the catacombs. By the way, this is my profile. This is my other profile. And I love this role because it speaks to my mind, but it also speaks to my soul because I'm a fisherman myself, being raised also partially in Sicily and having had the privilege to enjoy the sea, waking up every morning. So hopefully I wake up with the role in my mailbox. See you next time, right? This is a melody. This delivers something. This wasn't by all means perfect, right? This slate doesn't need to be perfect, but I had no mental fillers. I wasn't confused. I wasn't looking left and right. I had something to say. I was engaged. I was clear. I was confident. And I was matching my energy level. Sometimes what people do is they have a high energetic audition, right? And they come to the slate and all of a sudden they are underwhelmed, they are under energetically, they're underperforming. It's not really interesting what they say. It's like they're not matching the energy levels, right? So again, leave with a melody, leave with a tune, leave that with something that can be remembered. Match the style of your audition. Of course, if you wear like a brutal type of person during the audition, you don't want to be brute also with your slate, but maybe you don't want to be the happiest person after having auditioned for a mass murderer, right? That would be also weird, right? So if your audition is happy, your slate can be slightly happy as well. If your audition was more like of a dark character, well, that could also partially reflect a little bit in your slate for sure, right? Kind of try to match that. Sometimes in the slate, according to the instructions, right? Read the instructions by the casting director. So many times I've witnessed this, guys. Sometimes they ask us for our age, a bit more specifically, if we have any licenses like a driver's ID or like a pilot license, if we can horseback ride, right? If we have any other type of stories that we want to implement in the slate, make sure to do that. But they will definitely kind of specifically ask us for that. If you have something, like I said, that is truly outstanding, like your hobbies, like I don't know, you're bungee jumping or you're doing something crazy in your spare time, then definitely include it on your own without making it too long, of course, right? Be natural, guys. You don't have to be, the slate is not your role. I said match the style of the energy, but not, of course, like I said, right? Don't exaggerate. Be natural. If you have also thoughts, on what you just did, right? You can include that. I thought that was a pretty bad audition. Don't you agree? I thought this audition was amazing. Don't you agree? I think this material that you just gave to me is the best material I've ever read, right? Like if you have one thought, bring it in. And then, depending on whether this is a technical requirement, right? We will, here on both ends, I don't know if you can see that right. here on the right side, we have the emotional requirements for the slate, and on the left side, we have the technical requirements, right? And so here on the emotional, level, again, the casting director likes us to deliver a slate to see if we're trustworthy, if we're poised, and if we're confident. He doesn't want us to be arrogant, right? It's emotional, it's nice, it's natural, it's genuine, right? We shouldn't be arrogant, and we shouldn't also be like introverts somewhere dark in our corner, not able to speak, right? It's no extremities, no polarities, not too much of one or too much of the other, right? Just keep it balanced. Avoid those extremes, right? And avoid mental fillers. Again, you don't want to deconstruct a great audition by starting an audition with this just deconstructs your image. It ruins the initial idea of your value proposition, right? It ruins a little bit what you've done beforehand. Kind of stay consistent. Rather take pauses, make breaks, stop with your speech, deliver the next piece of information, the next valuable package, instead of trying to transition from one piece of information to the other with yeah, and then I did this, and then I traveled to China. That was no. Take breaks if you are still nervous or anything else. Avoid trying to kind of fill in again and kind of deconstruct what you did. I self-taped today for a psychological drama, Mary Lynch writes, and my character is hiding something. That's beautiful. Yeah, thanks so much. Of course, that's beautiful. Secrets are great. Mary Lynch tells us that when you audition, it's like the character she was auditioning for was hiding something. That's extremely nice, right? If you have a secret that's always intriguing for the brain, right? Oh, there's something going on. There's a secret. I want to know what it is. And so I'm engaged with the role. I'm engaged with the play. I'm engaged with the scene as an audience member. That's great. Happy, definitely, emotionally happy, but not nervous, right? Don't overdo it, right? Genuine and engaged. That's what you need to do. This is my signature. This is on the emotional side. On the technical side, it's basically this: state your info, turn, if requested, to your profile, leave your profile a couple of seconds, right? This is, profile turns during the self-tape, during the slate, are actually just for commercials, for ads most of the time. Sometimes they ask you to do this also for feature films. It's less required for TV films or series like productions. Like there, I haven't kind of witnessed or seen it, happening a lot. Happens sometimes, but it's rather rare. This is like the profile turn is rather for those who are auditioning for commercials, for big feature films, for something where or sometimes when you get like heavy prosthetics for a short movie, they want to see your profile from the makeup department to kind of see how your physical features are, your facial features are, in order to get an idea if it's going to be complicated to apply those prosthetics to your face or to your body, right? Again, leave some time after you're saying those things. Don't rush, right? You can sometimes, according to the instructions, show your entire body just by, just zooming out, right? Show your entire body. Even if it looks messy, try to have a nice picture, of course, a nice frame. Don't, if you need to show your body and you need to zoom out or walk back with the camera, and then, of course, we see your whole room and not just your backdrop, whatever you used for a backdrop, then make sure it's not completely cluttered and crazy, chaotic, right? Just show that you have a nice entire body shot without having any distractions or any cluttering on any chaotic things. And yeah, if you have going on, and if you have any last mentions, mention that and say thank you for your consideration, thank you for watching my material, thank you so much for getting myself tap into your system, thank you for this opportunity to read for this great character. Say thank you. It's such a positive way to kind of end this, right? I see sometimes like even professional actors like ending the slate rather abruptly and rude where there is no need for it. Like as if this is like, oh, this is such a dreaded thing. It's like 1 minute of your time. End it in a nice way. Show professionalism and competitiveness till the end, right? Till the very, like the last meters sometimes are so important. Don't self-sabotage yourself on the last mile of your marathon. You know, stick to your game plan, stick to your breathing rhythm, stick to yourself, to your product till you cross the finishing line. Don't self-sabotage yourself a mile before you end the actual run. Stick till the end of the run with your program. And this is pretty much the slate. This is what we need in order to kind of, impress the casting director even more. And sometimes the slate, like I said, can be a compensation or emphasizing, doubling down even more on something good that you've delivered beforehand. So make sure to not underestimate the importance of it. I don't want to pressure you. It's not the most important thing. If you mess up your slate, that of course influences a little bit, but still, if you have delivered a great, a beautiful, a magnificent audition, that's the most important part for sure, right? They want to see the actor, not the public speaker, right? This is, for those reasons, people sometimes put too much pressure on themselves. Like, oh, this needs to be perfect. And funny enough, sometimes even with my greatest acting clients, sometimes we get we get lost in the slate recording process because we want to make it perfect, right? And then I remind my clients, hey, this doesn't need to be perfect. The audition, okay, I agree, let's make it as good as we humanly can, but when we're talking about like slating the obvious at the end, it's not artistic anymore. So the emphasis here is to deliver those bullet points, to deliver those important and crucial pieces of information rather than delivering a great piece of art. So even if you mess up your slate, it's okay, right? Like all of the casting directors I've ever worked with, and believe me, there were a lot, they agree on this fact that yes, the slate is important. We love to see a confident, clear speaker at the end, someone who is human and not just a role, someone who kind of conveys maybe also a different message, right? The slate is also a great way to kind of slip in and slide in some new nuances. When I say talk about your passions, maybe, like I said, you talk about a dangerous hobby, or like you're an avid reader, or you want to reflect on something incredible that happened to you, right? This is a great way of slipping in something personal, right? If you don't overdo it and you don't overextend, absolutely fine, go with that. But they don't want to see you act during the slate. So therefore, if you fumble, if you make a mistake pronouncing a word, if maybe you lose your train of thought even for a second, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. This is why we're doing this, right? This is so you get the right attitude, the right mindset when you're facing the slate. And welcome, Victoria. I'm sorry the introduction round is over now, but I'm truly grateful that you've joined the show. Later, you will have the chance during the Q&A to get through with your questions. But definitely, if you want to present yourself and tell people who you are and where you're from, where your location is, definitely insert that in the chat box. This is also a little network opportunity. And usually when in the beginning, we have the chance to present ourselves all and we exchange. But this is also a great way to kind of, getting to know you a little bit. And in the end, like I said, we have the final Q&A, and then you can kind of release all of your questions and introduce yourself properly. But thanks so much for stopping by and taking your precious time out of your schedule to be here with us for Audition Tips Volume 3. So this is basically the groundwork, right? Your slate should match the energy on an emotional level, pretty much, of what you auditioned for. And on the technical level, it should match the style of what we auditioned for, right? So again, all the infos, it's very, very, very rudimentary infos. There's nothing special that's required from you. It's not as important, of course, as the audition. It's just that people want to know from the production company, like they want to get in another piece of information that is not passed through the artistic process, right? So they want to really kind of make sure to know if you're a great team player, if you're trustworthy, and if you can deliver a clear, relaxed and calm slate in the end to kind of show like what you humanly are. This is just also a great way to do that. Okay. What I have here on the left side is pretty much the process. We most likely nowadays, the business model of Hollywood, due to the C virus and everything that happened in the last couple of years, changed dramatically, and also through the the new outlets in Atlanta and in Louisiana, and the new production states, right? Georgia, Illinois, also South Florida. We've kind of liquefied the product, the Hollywood product, more. So a lot of stuff is happening virtually, and it's not physically as concentrated and focused on LA as it used to be like 15, 20 years ago, right? So that kind of changed. So this is why I wrote self-tape as the first step to booking the role. But this could be also your physical audition, of course. It starts with a self-tape or a physical audition. And we include the slate, of course, like we've shown here. And if things are going nicely and well, we get to the callback. And what is a callback? Well, a callback, in a nutshell, is this another round? Yes, it's another round, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, it's another round of audition. So what happens is sometimes the casting director sends you over directly the callback. Sometimes it goes through your agent. And usually the director or the production company likes to see another scene from you, or a cold reading scene, or both sometimes. So basically you come in and you deliver the first scene you auditioned, right? This first scene that you read, you deliver that again. And here I want to just, kind of emphasize the fact, guys, if you deliver the same audition, deliver the same audition pretty much, right? I wrote here same, but different, which is a saying that we have on set. So what I mean by that is don't come in and deliver a completely different audition all of a sudden, right? If you have problems kind of matching it, because the callback can be sometimes even months later. So take notes, right? After, remember what you did the first time with your first self-tape. Take some notes. It's like what I did there, how was I dressed, what was my emotional state, what was I, kind of doing, and try to bring that also to the callback. It will be already modified because our limbic brain, what our brain does, it incubates information when we're not actively thinking about it. What does that mean? So let's say I give you an assignment to write down something, right? Let's say I give you an assignment and I want you to write down something about your hometown, what you love and what you hate about your hometown, where you grew up. Basically that, right? Like a sheet of paper full of information, a little story of yours, a background, and about your town. Now you write that, and after 6 weeks, I ask you to redo the same writing. I give you the same assignment, but without actually looking at what you did before, what you wrote down before. Now, our brain has this incredible ability to incubate information while we're not actively doing it. So when we write the assignment for the second time, right, we will actually modify it. Subconsciously, sometimes consciously, actively, sometimes not even thinking about. We will modify it. We will make it better the second time because our brain had time to kind of think about it, what was right and what was not so right, what could be implemented and modified. And so therefore, your brain already modified your first audition, right, after a certain period of time. You don't need to change it actively. There will be some changes, some modifications going on quite naturally, but they want to see you doing this scene again, and then they will give you maybe new directions. So expect directions maybe on that scene again, or new assignments, right? In the beginning, maybe you were ironing something or counting money or smoking a cigar, and now all of a sudden they tell you, hey, don't smoke the cigar, pour yourself some water or a drink and then walk to the window. And instead of ironing, they want you to do a completely different action. So expect new directions and new assignments, but pretty much deliver that old scene with the natural modifications, except the casting director gave you clear instructions, right? This is why I put this here down on the bottom line. If the casting director gives us instructions, that's our Bible. We will follow them. Otherwise, with the callback, they pretty much like to see the scene again, nothing else, right? Slightly different because now you have a different approach. Maybe you're reflecting on it. Maybe you want to do something on top, or maybe something that you thought of doing, you kind of meditated on doing for your first audition, and you couldn't really do that. You couldn't really express that. Maybe you wanted to kind of perform an action, and then that kind of didn't work out during the audition the first time. Now it's a good time to maybe retry that, right? And kind of implement it this time. Maybe you want to exercise this better, but definitely, like I said, take notes on what you did. If you're a person that kind of forgets this stuff, right? So you don't present a completely different product. What you can also do is you can dress up the same, right? If you had an audition in the same way, take notes as like, what did I wear? Because that what you wear is definitely also matching the style of the movie, right? Or it should, at least. I highly recommend you to do that, right? If you audition for a Western movie, right, put something like denim on, or something like leather, or something that is rugged, right? Don't put on sophisticated Gucci clothes, right? And if you're auditioning for, let's say, a historical piece, you want to put a historical clothing on, or something that kind of resembles that, kind of resonates with that historical period of time. Let's say the 19th century, the Victorian phase, or whatever, right? And so of course you want to bring that back, right? Not wear completely different clothes. You still want to match the style, you still want to match the energy, you still want to deliver pretty much the same content. But they're gonna ask you, the director who's maybe present, or maybe the assistant director, or maybe just the casting director again. There is something called a director session, or a production session, or a producer session. They are in between callbacks and chemistry reads, right? There is another station that could be a producer session or a director session, where they like to see you again, in other circumstances, and they like to talk to you a bit more privately. And sometimes there's not even a casting director present at those sessions. It's not, they don't use it, they don't do it like they used to do it anymore, those director sessions, usually because of time restrictions, money restrictions, and just because LA is also a crazy town, and it's get more and more, traffic. And so therefore they like to be as time efficient as possible. So sometimes they include the director session into the callback, right? They have already the director there to kind of save time if he's available, or the assistant director with clear directions on what he should kind of ask you, to do. And therefore this sometimes is two products in one, right? So that can be also multiple rounds on the same day, or it could be also a callback where you get, like I said, a cold reading. What is a cold reading? It's a completely new scene, right? And they want you to do it on the spot, which is absolutely, it's of course a way of testing you. Sometimes that's a tough thing to do, right? You know exactly there is an actor, he's coming in for a callback. Of course, he has some expectations. He sees himself already being part of the movie, being famous, being alongside Brad Pitt on the Hollywood party, and sipping champagne for the rest of his life. And then all of a sudden, the casting director gives him like a page full of text and says, "You have to learn this in 15 minutes, by the way, brother." It's like, what? Right? So callbacks are great, but they're, you should come prepared, because there's all of, there's all sorts of unexpected stuff, like the cold reading going on. A cold reading basically is a scene where you have like a couple of minutes to read a new scene. And I think we have a video about that. If not, I'm gonna make sure to produce one, because it's a truly important part. But I think we have several videos on the callback, especially the old ones, right? On the cold reading, I'm sorry, and how to nail that. But yeah, this could be like multiple rounds, right? Here it's like I said, if you have a virtual callback, which can happen sometimes. Let's say your audition out of your town, you've been in town for the physical audition, and then you move back to another town, or you just sent in your self-tape. So probably the callback is going to also happen digitally and virtually. So make sure your gear works, guys. Please make sure. I mean, I've heard this so many times, and I've witnessed also this on my own, right? So if you have a virtual Zoom meeting, or like a StreamYard meeting, whatever it is, as a callback, make sure everything works. test your gear before important meetings, period, right? It doesn't matter if it's entertainment business or anything else. Like I've seen this, and this is it's just not great if a production company waits for you because all of a sudden your computer doesn't work, because your laptop is, you know, full with junk, or your camera doesn't properly work. Make sure before those callbacks, if you have virtual meetings, that your gear, that your computer, that everything is set up flawlessly, that everything works like a charm. I don't know why I have this drawing here now, but it I should try, maybe I pushed Anode without realizing it. Can I erase that? Ah, yeah, I did. I'm a magician. I just erased something from the screen. I'm so proud. Alessandra would be so proud of me right now. So yeah, check your gear. Make sure before you have virtual meetings. Please, guys, I've witnessed this like really a lot, and people freak out over this, and because all of a sudden they get hectic, they get into panic mode because something is not working, and then they're also messing up their, you know, their audition or their callback. This would be such a shame because of technical inconsistencies, and it's not a great business card for your reputation, right? If for such an important meeting all of a sudden they have to wait for you like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, even if it's just 1 minute, make sure that you are the first in the room to wait for them and not be late, and that your gear functions flawlessly. Like install a foolproof way of checking that everything works, your microphone works, your camera works, your computer is not too crowded and cluttered, that you can, you know, think that you're just there to think about the audition and the callback and nothing else, right? This would really be a shame. And another round, yes, another round, same, yes, but also slightly different. Wait for the feedback, right? And hold your horses during your callbacks. I know the expectations are high. I understand there is a certain pressure. I mean, a callback is already like, you know, this is here on the letter. This is the callback, right? So this is definitely already like getting closer to the golden gate of finally getting booked, right? I know, right? This is just a little leap left. And this is a great sign, but take it as such. It's a great sign. It's a great gratification. Don't take it for granted, because nobody arranges a callback for somebody that they don't deem trustworthy, that they don't deem professional, that they don't deem talented, right? People arrange callbacks only with great performers. So you are a great performer already if you're coming to the callback. That's success. That's more than booking the role immediately. Believe me, guys, work on your legacy, not on your instant gratification, and you will have long-term gratification for sure. So don't be stressed. Don't be too pressured. Deliver just great work, right? I know you get closer and closer to this. This is what we want. But if it's not working this time, it's no problem, right? And don't over pressure the whole thing. Hold your horses. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just stay sharp, like I've written down here. And it's like stay sharp, stay focused, stay human, stay the performer that you are. Don't overthink this. Don't think too much ahead, because that will make you lose focus about what you have here and to appreciate this opportunity like we are having here, guys. It's all about appreciating the opportunity. Simply note how beautiful that is to be slightly nervous, because things are getting more interesting now. This means that we're stepping up our game, that we're literally kind of stepping towards our goals, that we're literally climbing the ladder of success. This is already a sign of success, guys. This is already meaning that we have control. This is already meaning that we're getting acknowledged and noticed, right? Don't leap too much. Focus on what you have here right now. Don't think, oh yeah, I need to deliver this callback in the best possible way. Yeah, I almost got the role, right? I needed to get ready. I need to call a chauffeur, right? Which Ritz-Carlton room, penthouse should I book? Stay calm, guys. Stay sharp and stay calm. And I'm speaking out of personal experience here. I screwed up many callbacks, right? Because I was too pretentious, too entitled, because I felt I got the role already. I wasn't focusing in the moment. I was already focusing on, oh yeah, what should I wear as a costume when I'm on set? Hey, wait, you're not on set already. You know, this is a great success. You get called, but sometimes you don't even know why you're not getting booked. Sometimes there are so many factors flowing into the basin of getting booked or not that you don't know from which type of direction, from which current, you know, the pushback is coming from. It's not necessarily because you delivered a bad callback, right? There are so many factors going into movie making, even on a smaller scale, that it's not always our fault. So don't feel entitled like, yeah, this is a make or break that is only depending from me. It's not. You can do what's necessary and most effectively and leave the rest up to the people in charge. Please, guys. I hope I made myself clear. No, we will get to the question because I can't see the checkbox right now from this from this, and it's too much of a shame because I want to see if there is like a comment right now happening. But we will get to the Q&A in just a couple of minutes. So if you have any questions, note them in the checkbox, write them down for yourself. Okay. So after the slate, you know, self-tape, slate, callback. And now callback was great. And what happens after the callback, this is the fourth step, we get to the chemistry read. And what is the chemistry read? It's basically what it says. Now you get paired, most likely. The production company will call you in with the other role. Let's say you play a husband, right? So probably you will have the chemistry read with the actress that is playing your wife in the movie. Or let's say you're a kid or a juvenile or, you know, so like a younger fella that is growing up in a family. So most probably you will have a chemistry read with one or both actors that are playing your parents. Right? If this is a piece about a high school drama or something, probably you will have the actors that are playing your fellow students or your colleagues. So a chemistry read is pairing you with the other people. Ah, now I can see the chat from you. I'm getting better and better at this. Oh, no, no other questions. Okay. So now you see, now the production company wants to see, hey, okay, he delivered a great audition. He delivered effective and professional slate, right? He nailed the callback, right? He was there and he did his job and he handled the cold reading, the assignments, the new directions, and the multiple rounds well. Now he's getting closer to getting booked, that we are considering this actor, this talent, this professional, this artist, this potential employee more and more to be part of our project, right? So let's do another round of audition. And the chemistry read is not something that happens all the time, right? Why am I including this? Because usually the chemistry read is something that happens more on a level where, let's say, the budget is very high, right? They want to make sure that you are the perfect match, right? That there is no type of problem that could, or at least they want to, you know, they want to exclude as many possibilities as possible, right? In the beginning, they want to make sure that they are narrowing the field as much as they can, and they're going to do this with a lot of actors. So let's say it's a high budget movie, they're definitely going to check you out after the callback again, right? Let's say this is a movie where it's a set drama piece with another actor most of the time, right? Let's say you have most of your scenes or 80% of your scenes with just another actor. They want to make sure that the chemistry works. So even on a lower budget level, if the movie is incentivized and kind of, you know, is revolution and kind of revolving around the relationship of two human beings, definitely they're going to have a chemistry read. Or if it's a lower production level in terms of budget, they may be going to introduce during the callback some sort of a chemistry read with one of the other actors that are participating in the movie as well, right? So again, this could be, it's not always as clean cut as I'm presenting it right now. Sometimes it's, you know, it's kind of in between. Sometimes it's a mixture, it's a hybrid. But definitely, if it's important to check the chemistry of two or more actors collaborating with each other, or if the budget is so high that they want to exclude any type of problems and they want to check as much as they can granularly who you are on a human and professional level, then the chemistry read is going to happen for sure. So make sure to be prepared for that as well. So what is the chemistry reading or chemistry read? So like I said, it's checking the chemistry. And what is chemistry? It's electricity, it's relationship, it's the current that flows back and forth, from one actor, from one character to the other. So before we talk about the pairs and the other actor, let's talk about three, very important things about the chemistry reading that that kind of should be taken into consideration before we look at, before we look at the stuff that we can control. Let's focus on the stuff that is under our possession, right? That we can manipulate directly. And then we think about the stuff that we can control. But 80% should go, 80% of our technical effort and artistic effort should go into stuff that we can actually manipulate. What I see is actors, performers, artists sometimes being worried too much. Also through social media, I get that, about what's exterior. Right? What will they think about me? I wonder what they think about me. I wonder what the other character expects me to do. I wonder what the casting director likes me to see. What do you like to see from yourself? You are the performance, not the casting director, the other character in the room, or the production company. They don't care. For what it's worth, they want to see a remarkable artist, a remarkable presenter, a great entertainer, someone who delivers beautifully what he has inside, right? So don't be worried about other people. Be worried about being as good as you humanly can. Prepare yourself day and night. And I'm telling you, guys, this is not to brag or anything. I'm just sharing my process. I don't have anything else. Of course, I read resources, I attend workshops, I watch videos. I am on YouTube like anyone else, right? We have a YouTube channel. So of course I look at all these videos, but I'm actually, basing most of the stuff that I'm teaching, that I'm sharing, that I'm coaching you guys on my own experience. I don't have anything else. And from my own experience, the stuff that is most beautiful about us is also the stuff that we are most afraid of. It's truly like that. The stuff that we think, oh no, this is not good about me. Look at my spot here. No, this is not my chocolate side. I'm just going to turn this way. Well, no. People don't want to hear my dialect or my accent. They don't want to hear my Southern voice, because my Southern voice kind of makes them think that I'm this or that. That's all BS. It's all BS. If you have a Southern accent and you talk great in your Southern accent, you have a funny voice and you can deliver emotion in your accent, deliver your accent. Right? If you are, somebody who gestures a lot, like I do, because I'm Italian, and my gestures are still okay, they still match the style, then I gesture a lot. I don't try to control or suppress something that belongs to me just because I'm worried about what the other people that I don't know think, possibly, potentially, about my performance. And let me tell you something, most of the time, yes, they evaluate our performance. And believe me, I can tell you this because also from my experience being on a soap opera, I've been on a soap opera for 18 years with on and off, periods. But comprehensively, I've been on a soap opera as a lead, as a protagonist on a soap opera for 18 years. And of course, I was also invited to the casting process a lot of time to do this, to do a chemistry read with potential new protagonists or people that were interacting with me a lot in the upcoming months, right, in the series that we were about to shoot, that we were shooting. So therefore, I saw this firsthand, working or not working, right? When people were focusing too much on, oh, what is he thinking about me? Oh, am I doing this right? And double checking in the monitor all the time. They were not present. They were just insecure. So stay with yourself, right? Stay with yourself, no matter what. Mary Lynch writes, in audition tape, if the script it's from a sitting position and then you get up to leave into another room, would you recommend having some sort of change, or just tape all standing? Would recommend to add the action or of going to grab someone's arm? Thanks. Let me just read this again. I've read this too fast. So in an audition tape, if the script it's from a sitting position and then you get up to leave into another room in the script, I assume in the scene, would you recommend having some sort of change, or just to tape all standing? Yes. You can do a little change and you don't even need to interrupt the tape. So for what it's worth, if you show me that you changed, then probably, yes, okay, so this is the other room, right? The casting director will notice that. So let's say in the audition, your scene is happening in a seated position. Now, here's the thing. If the instructions of, follow the instructions, if the instructions of the casting director clearly advise you to stay seated during the whole self-tape, then of course we follow the instructions. If the scene is telling you that you are seated, but the casting director doesn't tell you, hey, it's not allowed to stand up, and there is no instruction like specifically revolving the fact if you should stay seated or could potentially get up, then by all means, if you feel the impulse like to stand up during the scene or to deliver a line or a paragraph out of your monologue from a standing position and maybe to sit down, do that. Just kind of to get this out of the way. To address your question a bit more granularly, you can, if in the scene you need to, if in the scene it said, in the casting it said, in the audition it said that you are leaving the room, you can stand up, go around the chair, right? And if the other room you sit down in a chair again, you will sit down with this new attitude, right? With the new sane attitude, with the new energetic level. If the other scene, the other room kind of gives you the choice whether you want to sit down or stand, or if there is no specification whether you stand or sit, well, then you just can, stay, in your standing position, stay up there and then sit down later. So people see that there is like a clear difference, right? Just make sure that technically you have someone who is following you. So maybe he's zooming out while you're standing because of course this is another crop, another angle, or make sure that the angle, the crop in which you're filming this whole process from the beginning, the scene is wide enough and it still looks nice, of course, not cluttered, anything. It's wide enough to capture you while you're seated or standing. Usually that's very wide, right? Because if I would capture you seated and then I stand up and it's still open enough, so that's a really huge angle. I don't know if that is like adequate in your room, if that looks great, because when we have too much headroom it just doesn't look nice, right? So make sure that you can, you work creatively around those things, but definitely you can also just enunciate that, but just by changing your demeanor, just by changing your energy, and then they know, okay, this is the other scene, right? Usually it's just a little turn and then you come back, or just close your eyes and then you do it again, or just presume that you're just walking around and then you sit down with a new energy level, if that helps, right? If that makes sense to you. And the other part of the question was, would you recommend having some sort of change? Yeah, just say Paul Stanley would recommend to add the action of going to grab someone's arm. Yes, you can grab someone's arm like I'm doing here. Hey, stay here. Don't go. If you leave this room right now, this is over. It means over forever, right? So it looks like I'm grabbing someone, right? Or it looks like I'm pointing a pistol to someone or a gun at someone, right? You can do that. Otherwise, if you want to check out our first masterclass that we did, Audition Tips Volume 3, where we talk about the importance of the chair, the importance of the door, and the importance of the window, what you can do with these props, is super, super powerful, because this chair can be everything in the audition. I don't want to go and dive into that because we covered that already. But there's a lot of solution making, right, that I offer you during that masterclass. So you want to check that out, because that gives you like a couple of interesting ideas what you can do with these pieces of props that will always be present. These are really the fundamentals: chair, window, and door. So chemistry reading, coming back to us, is again, it's another step. So like we would do in any great scene, what we should do here, because usually they are pairing us, right, with the other reader, with the other person, with the other actor. So make sure that you work on the relationship, because this is what the production company also likes to see. What do I mean by that? Like relationships, like if one of the great guideposts, one of the great, teachers of acting teachers on this planet and in this world is Michael Shortleff, and he wrote in his book Auditioning that there are 12 guideposts to nailing the audition. We want to check out this book. It's absolutely fantastic. And a lot of what I've experienced, like, completely agrees with what he's saying, what he's writing. Some of the things might be a bit outdated or not completely matching the contemporary style, but most of the stuff, 80% of the stuff that is in that book, 85% is still very, very actual and very, very helpful and very practical. And so, yeah, the relationship is the most important part for sure about a scene. If you establish relationship, you establish reactions, you establish emotional levels, energy levels, everything, how you relate to that person. What kind of relation do you have with the other character in the scene? Focus on that. A lot of people, and we talk about that, focus on, again, things that they can't control instead of like hardcore focusing on really doing their best work, preparing themselves thoroughly. When I would prepare for a chemistry reading, I would do this night and day. I would exclude everything else out of my life, guys, except my beautiful wife, of course. But everything else would just have to wait. Period. Friends, hobbies, entertainment, procrastination, it's all on hold, right? Like cell phone, it's all on hold. It's not important. When you have a chemistry reading, go through your prep, go through your toolbox, go through the scene again and again and again. Don't leave anything aside, right? Like, turn around every leaf, every sheet of paper, look at all the details, because now, like I said, this is the fourth step of the letter before we actually cross the golden gate. So this is really important now, guys. You don't want to, and the argument that some people say, yeah, but if I over prepare it, then I'm truly nervous. You're going to be nervous anyways. Do you want to be nervous because you come unprepared and you have a bad conscience and you think you're going to make a fool of yourself? Or do you want to be nervous because you know you can do it, and because you know you've gathered your armory, your weapons, and because you've trained, and now you can wait to unleash, right? This value proposition of yours. You want to be nervous because you know great things are coming ahead, or you want to be nervous because something in the past that you didn't do? Again, you want to focus on the now. You want to focus on the regrets. You want to focus on, oh, should have, could have, would have, or let's do it. Right? Of course you're gonna be nervous. There's always some stage fright. I'm 35 years in the game. Every time I get called to an audition, like I get nervous. It's like, oh, people want to see me. It's like the little narcissist in me, the little kid that finally can play with his toys, with his props, with his guns and all that, and can shoot around. It's like, wow, I get nervous and excited. Of course I get nervous and excited. So that's okay. But if you are nervous and excited, it's sometimes also a sign that, yes, now it's getting important, therefore it matters. And don't be afraid of that. Embrace that, but prepare yourself. Throw everything away that has nothing to do with the callback, with the chemistry reading, also with the callback for what it's worth. Don't let anything stand in between you and success. Make sense? Good. So work on the relationship and connecting through lines and mimicry. And what I mean by that is, like, in our chemistry reading, right? Like the name says it, right? There's chemistry. Chemistry happens also in the body, right? So admit that the lines inform you also physically, and admit that something happens now, right? Like now we can open up more and more. It's not the educated casting. It's not the callback. Now, this is chemistry. They want to see who you are here, right? So it's also a great chance to kind of increase your intensity, increase the density, the energy level that you are there, that you are focused, that you're on the front line, right? There's no holding back anymore, right? Maybe here on the the callback level, hold your horses, deliver the stuff, don't be too anxious, to be okay. Here it makes sense to still have that kind of holding it back a little bit. Here you have to show no holding back, no holds barred anymore. They want to, like, how do you connect with the lines? How do you connect with the material? What does it do to you, right? Like, let me see that. Because usually what people do when they go into the chemistry reading, and they focus a lot on the pair, They focus a lot only on the relationship, like hardcore on impressing the other actor. And this happened to me as well. You know, I was the protagonist of my show. And so when we had chemistry readings with other potential protagonists that were coming in, they were focusing hardcore on impressing me instead of delivering the role. It's like, oh, yes. And they were all over me or all over the other actor, the other protagonist that was reading, instead of really like focusing granularly what's important about the text and in our relationship, and kind of connecting through the craft instead of trying to impress me, right? And kind of also getting me out of my cage a little bit. And most of the times the actors that we booked after the chemistry reading for the show that I read with were actually actors that were giving a shit about me most of the times, right? They were not trying to impress me at all, but the chemistry was there nonetheless, because they were reading, they were just acting. And me, all of a sudden, I was performing with them. I wasn't thinking about this is a chemistry reading. I thought, all right, this is a scene, fun, let's play the scene. And all of a sudden I was engaged. And of course, the casting director, the production company, the director was picking up on that. It's like, look at him, look at Lorenzo, he's engaged, he's playing well with this actress or with this actor, right? Maybe they don't like each other personally or humanly, but on screen they have great chemistry. So, you know, consider him booking. So connect through the lines in the mimicry, and don't try to impress the other actor that is reading with you, that is maybe already booked. This is about the physical aspect. Then we have our choices and our compatibility, of course. What I mean by choices is make bold choices. No holds barred. Again, bold, be courageous, right? Just if you feel like, hey, maybe there's a physical, you know, there's some sort of an interaction going on, and maybe there's a kiss, a slap or something, as like, and you feel like doing that, and you inform the other actor, maybe I'm going to slap you. Maybe I'm going to get physical. Is that okay with you? Maybe I'm going to kiss you, right? Just make bold choices, right? If you want to sing, if you want to do something that is no holds barred, right? This is a great way of impressing the other actor, but making bold choices, because he will get after you. He will make the same, right? Because actors are, like I said, little narcissists in a box. So, oh, he's doing something great, I'm gonna do something great. Oh, he's doing something even greater, I'm gonna do something even greater. And so this whole thing just benefits the overall picture. So make those bold choices. And if you have anything on your mind that is not clear, ask questions. So many times I've seen this, like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, sure. If I only knew. Yeah, why didn't you ask? Why didn't you ask? This is your career, your character, your scene. This is your chemistry reading. Why didn't you ask those fundamental questions if there was anything unclear to you about how you should perform the scene at hand? I don't understand it. Don't be shy. It's not your ego here that gets, it's like, just ask questions. It's okay. There are simply things that you can't know, that you can't. How should you, right? So ask questions, right? No one will judge you in that room, whether the other protagonist, nor the production company, nor the casting director, because you're asking a silly question. There are no silly questions. Only answers are stupid. Questions are always healthy if they are genuine, right? There are no stupid questions. So ask questions. If you have a big choice, like, can I do this physically, or can I, interact with you also on this level, or can I do something else here? Like, ask questions. Don't hold back, right? And then do it. Then show them, right? Promise and then fulfill. This is success. And also be receptive to the other choices, right? If someone is throwing you a ball, don't duck, don't dodge, don't just let the ball, you're not Teflon, right? Catch that ball. If someone is throwing you a ball, maybe he likes to interact with you. This is actually a good sign, right? There's a performance going on. An action triggers a reaction, and that reaction triggers another reaction, and that reaction will trigger another reaction, and then you have a chain reaction. Then you have a fulfilling scene. So you want reactions. If someone is acting and reacting to you, that's a great sign. So accept, be receptive to other choices as well of the other characters, right? Fight, laugh, cry, make it work. In the end, be compatible, right? This is what they want to see. This is why it's called chemistry reading. And yes, sometimes, and this would happen to me, so full disclosure here, sometimes, and this is just not because of arrogance, or most of the times, I don't think this is out of confidence. Sometimes a protagonist comes to a chemistry reading with, let's say, a less known actor, a less known colleague. But even if the colleague is also well known, and still there is some sort of a thing going on between them. It's friction, it's like he doesn't want to be there, he feels like he's wasting his time, right? The protagonist wants to be in his trailer instead to be here because he's working so much, and the production company forces him also in his spare time to come to the chemistry reading. So there are many reasons why a protagonist or a star could be in a bad mood for the chemistry read, right? Don't expect the star to be, happy to be there, right? This is what I want to say. But also, don't let yourself be distracted by that fact, because most of the times it has nothing to do with you, right? So don't judge your reader, because if you judge your reader, your reptilian center starts to closing down all receptive sensors, and therefore you will, return into your insecurity cave. He's like this, he's like that. Yeah. You get like Nosferatu. You don't want to become Nosferatu during a callback or during a chemistry reading. It's not a good tactic for a successful career. Stay Van Helsing, right? Stay the vampire hunter, not the vampire. Don't become the vampire. Don't judge your reader, because that just triggers negative thought. It distracts you. You start having more and more, other things that will come up into your brain that have no place of being there during a chemistry reading, right? Afterwards, take notes, reflect on what just happened, why you reacted in a certain way. Maybe the day after, you kind of journal your process down there with a calm mind, with a poised brain. You will have the chance of evaluating whether or not it was a mistake or it was the fault of someone for you not delivering your best product in the room that day, right? But don't judge in the moment what you're doing, because it gets you out of the curve. Treat everything with humor, guys. Humor is number one. And believe me, they see you. They know maybe the reader that is reading with you is in a bad mood. The production company knows exactly that's a spoiled A-lister that doesn't want to be there. So they know that he's bringing negative energy. They want to see how you deal with it. Again, it's all a test. It's all an addition again. So if you deal with it greatly, with great humor, with humbleness, with splendor, with sovereignty, instead of being small and picky and defending yourself, it's like, they want to see you embrace this moment, right? Sometimes they even put you on a test, like consciously to stress test your nerves, to see how fit you are for this role, because they know maybe they're A-lister they're pairing you with, or the other actor you're pairing with is like a difficult partner to play with. I want to see, let's see if he can do it, right? Because he needs to do it for the next 80 days. So if you can't do it for a couple of minutes in the room where you have perfect condition, you won't be ready to deliver this for the next 80 days somewhere in the wilderness or on the studio lot where it's hectic and you have 18 hours a day to shoot and you're completely tired and drained of energy. Does that make sense? So you never know. It could be also a test. Show your best side, show your humor, be adaptive to the situation, and be invested in delivering great entertainment, guys, instead of focusing on external factors again. This is how you nail your chemistry reading. And if you've done that, most probably the next step will be the golden gate, right? Your agent calls you and says, okay, what do you want for a day, right? What should we negotiate, right? And then the whole process starts again, because you're a small actor, so you need to pay your dues, right? You need to step up the career ladder in order to ask for more, in order to get those great roles. So it's always coming up and always coming down. This is the beauty of creating, of being an artist. It will never stop. It's a never-ending process of evolution. And remember, just as a side note, at the end, a great vocal image paired with a great visual language equals impeccable presentations, right? We have two things to show: our vocal image and our visual language, right? It sounds like a paradox, but it's actually true. Our visual, our gestures, our physicality, our body movements, our action, they speak a non-verbal language. That's non-verbal communication. That's why it's the visual language, right? The way we style, the way we dress, the way we look, the way we're in shape, that's our visual language. And then we have our vocal image. Like, how does I sound? How do I sound? How does my voice sound? Like, What type of image do I leave? What type of impression do I leave, right? And if you try to kind of improve that, we have videos about that on our channel. We just recently released the Open Class Doodle episode 19 about how we develop great charisma, where we touch upon those factors as well. But in a nutshell, I believe that every skill on this planet can be broken down in 4 very basic aspects. There is the mental and the physical, the tactical and the technical. The technical and the physical are together, and the mental and the tactical, they come together as pairs. There's nothing else, in my opinion, right? It's tact, it's temper, it's tone, it's rhythm, it's rate. This is how we get remembered. So I hope this helped you to get remembered in the future as well. And I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. And now let's get to your questions. Let me just pop this up here for you guys. Okay, all right. So I put, yeah, I will show you for sure. This is the file where we do have that. I want to share the picture with you guys. If I can do that. I really don't know how to do that right now, how to insert that, because I want to give you, maybe I just throw it in there, right? Okay, let's see if that works, because I want to give you that, definitely. All right. Can you see the doodle now in the chat? So you can also take a picture, take it home, you know, remember this beautiful historical event, whatever it is. And you know what? I'm going to just unmute you clockwise, and you just shoot me your questions. Sounds good? Hope it does. Let me get back here to our beautiful gallery, and let's start with Angelica clockwise. We did counterclockwise at the beginning. Now we do clockwise at the end. So Angelica, if you want, you can show yourself again, just also to give us your beautiful face. Really nice face.
About questions, maybe,
Sure.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Where can I find your doodles on, on your website? Because I couldn't find it.
It's on YouTube. It's my YouTube channel. It's our YouTube channel. It's the COACHMC Studio.
Okay. So I'm fine.
Okay.
It was amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Any other technical questions? Anything else?
Technical. Well, since I'm studying, a project, I was advised to ask for an edited showreel from, the association in which I'm actually taking part of. And after that, I would like to get another advice, but in this case, advice from you.
Sure.
That's so real. Should I send it as an audition or use it to build my own portfolio, social media portfolio?
It depends on what kind of instructions you were given, if this is private material or it's public material, if they want this for a personal, like internal evaluation, or if this is like a public evaluation. It really depends on that. Sometimes production companies or other companies don't like it that much if you publish also your self-tape. But there is a certain time where I feel you can do it after a certain while. Even I do that. Like if it's really like 2-3 years, the product has been already shot or put out there, then I have no problem in posting that. But what you can do though, is once you record something, right? Once you record something, you're still in the role, you're still in that mood, right? Don't just shut the camera off and shut your creativity off. You have your recorded stuff that you want to post, that you want to send in. That's beautiful. Now, press record again, and just improvise. Just improvise what this character could do now. When you're talking about your passions, when you're talking about what the character likes to achieve, when you talk about what the character is feeling right now, go through that and just record a little improv afterwards. And that, I highly recommend you to post it on social media. Right? You just post it in your stories. You say, hey, I was working on Audition. This inspired me to this text or to this video. I wanted to share this with you. Please send me in your feedback.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Thank you so much.
Of course, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Really, it's been great having you. It's a great honor seeing, you know, people being interested in this type of knowledge and information. Thank you. All right, Mary. Go ahead.
Thanks. No, I don't really have any further questions, but I really enjoyed the masterclass.
Thank you
It
so
really
much.
taught me a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Put them to action. Definitely.
What do you think was the most valuable piece of information that you received today?
Just about the melody.
Nice.
Make sure you leave the melody.
Nice.
And about the character, like why you'd be suited. Just gives them an extra reason to, hopefully. And the tone you were saying, that you could get up and down off the seat, or you could just change your tone slightly. That's what I did today. I just changed my tone when I went out.
Very cool.
And then I was more stern. I was like,
okay,
you're not giving away anything.
Okay, so that kind of reinforced your belief that you did something right today?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Absolutely welcome. Yeah, it's actually, the melody thing is a very old school type of thing, right? The first type of communication that happened on planet Earth before the cylinders of the Sumerians, allegedly 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, before they started imprinting with their signs in clay, before they did that, all the informations were passed on by drums and orally. Because if you have a rhythm and a melody, you remember the melody, and by remembering the melody, you're remembering the information and who brought you the information. So you remember all three factors at the same time once you leave a melody, right? And so this is where I got this notion from. It's actually like an old school advice from, I think it is Dean Martin who said that the first time I read it actively. I think it was Dean Martin said, if you leave the audition without leaving your melody, you won't be remembered. Right? So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Victoria.
My question would be, you talked about adding your natural flavor, your melody to your the last piece of, how is the English word called?
Slate?
Yes,
slate. Yes.
And I wonder, when do you know if it's too much personal information? Like, how much can you put in to not make them overflow, to make it too much?
You know, ask yourself when I have those questions that are a bit arbitrarily, like, because like, what should I include? What should I exclude? Is, you know, if there are no instructions, especially, right? What should I say? It's like, always reverse engineer the process. It's like, now imagine you would be the casting director. Imagine you're auditioning for this project, and imagining you're getting 400 tapes a week for this project. Right? And so would you like to receive unnecessary information or overwhelming information that is just too much to handle, that doesn't really give me any additional value to your presentation? Or would you just leave the information to a clear, concise way with just a little personal touch, right? What do you would prefer, like personally, if you reverse engineer the thought? And probably most of the times we would tell ourselves, no, I don't wanna dump too much information, too much energy on someone, right? They should be left with a nice melody, but with, of course, remembering my audition more than remembering my public presentation. So information is good, but of course not too much, right? Try to focus, like try to fit the casting director's shoes and imagining like what would he really like to hear as an effective presentation. All of my details from my childhood, all the food that I love to eat, and every book that I read in the last 10 years, or just one book that really stood out to me, or one cool thing that I did. Because most likely when we drop too much information, it's also maybe it speaks also for insecurity that the information that we have so far delivered is not enough in our opinion, right? So it kind of shows more weakness than strength to over deliver it, if that makes sense. Okay. So keep it compact. Yeah. So
you just speak about the facts. You need to show them and make them a bit funny or the way you want them, and don't add spices that are not necessary. That this would be too much. Yes.
Yes. I think one cool thing that is really like interesting about you, like let's say you've read 150 books in 3 months because that was some sort of a bet that you had with a friend, or it was a challenge that you posed to yourself, or something else, something like a little thing, like a little note that could be interesting and funny and slightly unusual. One thing is cool, but too much, again, you're liquefying your product. Yes.
So is it like, I, for example, drink celery juice every morning?
Yes.
Is it good to say this if I say, oh, I drink celery juice every morning and I'm so thirsty for this role? Would this be good? But if I just say, oh, I'm Victoria and I drink celery juice, this would be too much. Is it like this? Or
yes, in a way, yes. I mean, it's interesting thing to say, right? I drink celery juice. Why do you drink celery juice? What is the reason for you drinking celery juice? What is your passion behind drinking celery juice? Where do you buy your celery, right? It's like, what do you do with that? You know, it's like, again, the information of saying I'm vegan or I drink celery juice is more or less interesting. It's not interesting in the context of an audition. But if explain to me why, or if there's anything special about, hey, I drink celery juice of celery that I grow myself, and that I only grow myself. And I've developed a technique that I've learned on TikTok on how to cut the heart of the celery, place it in water, and then root it out and branch it out. And so over 4 weeks of period, I can grow my own celery. This is how I save $24 a month. For example, right? You make something quirky and weird out of it. Just this was improvised, right? So it's nothing but just to give you the idea that celery itself is not interesting, but it's what you make out of celery that it's interesting for an actor, especially. Does that make sense?
Yes, but my final question is,
sure,
it needs to have a connection to the role, or to your facts, how old you are. It can't be just added because you like to tell them the whole book.
Right. No, not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily need to be relatable to the role. Sometimes we audition for somebody who, commits a crime, and that's not necessarily something we would do. Right. And so therefore, not everything that we say in our slate is relatable to a role that does, outrageous things in private life that we would never do and never entertain. So therefore, not necessarily. But if you can bridge your slate in terms of what it contains, bullet points, information, and so on, so forth, if you can bridge that and somehow find a similarity or a parallel to the role, even better. Sure.
Also, if you have prepared it, how important is it to be natural, out of the moment? Because I really liked when you said you can bring your own thoughts about what the story is.
Yes.
And there I was, can you also bring the ones you thought at home? Because when you say them, they are prepared. They are, well, when you want to act, they should be good, prepared and good.
Here is a little secret. We always say, oh, I just invented this. Actors always say, oh, no, I just came up with this on the spot. Oh, no. Really? You liked it? Oh, funny. We prepared this for months. Every time an actor tells you, oh, I came up with this, it's months of preparation. The incredible stuff about the actor is that he, I don't know if you are into classical music, right? I always emphasize the importance of listening to and like an obsessive amount, like an extreme amount of classical music in order to improve as an artist as well. And so one of my favorite musicians on this planet is Vladimir Horowitz. He's unfortunately dead already, but he is very famous for, you know, being probably the best interpreter of Chopin, right? The way he plays Chopin on the piano is unparalleled, unmatched till this day, right? Very famous Carnegie Hall concert of Vladimir Horowitz. I highly recommend you to watch that concert. It really kind of, it brings an emotional side alive inside of you that you never thought would be there in the first place. But why am I talking about Vladimir? Because Vladimir said, I exercise 14 hours a day playing Chopin. So I know every Chopin piece, everything, every note, everything. And my muscle memory is perfect. I don't know how my wife is still together with me because I'm actually married to the piano and not to her. But nonetheless, when I play during a concerto, I make sure that every single key of the piano that I play sounds like improvised, sounds like coming out like this right now, almost like a coincidence, like an accident. This is how Chopin should be played, and I wholeheartedly agree. So he exercises 14 hours a day in order to sound like he would come up with it right now, as if this is just happening in the moment. This is the beauty of show business. You've prepared it thoroughly, and then you show it as if it's happening right now. And I call this process structure chaos structure. Chaos in itself is dangerous, but if it's engulfed by structure, then it's a powerful source of inspiration. So you prepare the structure, the fundamentals, and then you allow yourself in the moment that you have to perform to be also slightly chaotic and to listen to your impulses and to be adaptive to what you are receiving from the other characters in the scene. And then you close it down again with structure by finishing the scene how it's supposed to be, and also with structure by reflecting on what you did afterwards. This is the beautiful oscillation of life and creativity.
That was really interesting, because also about the slate that you can really prepare it and become better in trying and trying.
Yes.
It was interesting and also new for me, because I always learned be as natural as you can in this and don't prepare it kind of.
Yes, exactly. And let me tell you, out of personal experience, when we got to Miami, when we started networking, when we started presenting ourselves and going to these events, like people would just hold a microphone into my face and say, hey, say hello to the Miami community. Like, who are you? What are you doing here? And I sucked with my slates. Right? Because I thought, again, oh, yes, I'm an actor. I'm a preparer. I can do it. Yes, I can do a lot out of, I can improvise for hours. I can hold monologues for hours, no problem. But then when I was asked specifically by the Miami networking events, by the companies that were approaching us, like, what are you doing specifically in Miami? What are you doing here? What is your pitch? What is your studio doing? It's like, I had to deliver something and I wasn't prepared. So in the first month, I was terrible. Even though I should know it better, even though I'm experienced, I was terrible at making people understand what our company is about. And then, of course, I went back to the drawing board. It's like, okay, I need to do my homework, right? I was underestimating the effort. And so now it's like, what is my company doing over here in Florida? What are we offering to our clients? What type of products do we have? And this was also important to, like, the slate, like setting up a clean slate is also setting up your company or your personal brand. Because if you know what you deliver during your pitch, you know what you have to produce, right, during the year. And so therefore the slate also helps you about your physical endeavors to get clear. It's like, okay, yeah, if this is my company, then I should do this as a process in order to kind of represent what I've just slated, what I just pitched to my potential new customer. Does that make sense?
Yes. So thank you for your masterclass.
You're absolutely welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. And even though this is slightly unusual because we have like a new entry that wasn't part of today's masterclass, as far as I can tell, but still, Linda, thank you for being here. How are you? You want to maybe ask a question and like present yourself and where you're from and what you do and why you're here.
Oh.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Sorry,
Yes.
I'm not good with these Zooms.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Hi,
Good.
Linda. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What do? I feel like everything.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm just new to the acting field. I haven't really had an audition, and I'm learning about the process about how to go about doing that.
Mm.
I did sign up with a few agencies, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go that far. Like, I still need to get lessons. But what I do is I work in administration. What else?
And where you're calling from exactly?
Oh, I'm calling from Toronto, Mississauga, Toronto. My brother-in-law is in the film industry.
Nice.
But I would like to learn more about it. What
Yes.
happened was I joined a few of them, but it never transposed. Or transpired into something of. I auditioned for a Subway commercial, and they did like me, but I was supposed to send more finances, and that's something I wanted to ask. Is that something that when you're starting out that you're supposed to send money and?
No, so not sending money to anyone or anything like that, but invest money in your portfolio, of course in your acting education, in your in your improvement on your artistry, for sure. Yes. Because by getting better, it's also a very competitive field, and more and more players are coming to it. And it's an industry that creates a lot of appetite to a lot of outlets. So therefore, a lot of people are coming to this industry, to entertainment, right? To showbiz, to film, to advertising, to marketing. This is such important because, like I said in the beginning, you weren't there. But maybe you catch the replay. We talked about that our economy today is not based anymore on the dollar. It's not based on gold. It's not based on oil. It's based on attention. It's based on awareness. It's based on information. If you create awareness for yourself, if you can attract attention to your product, to your brand, to your service, to your outlet, then most likely you will appreciate value. And by appreciating value, your network is going to get bigger. Your network is getting more important. It will attract more and more people, and therefore you will appreciate value more and more. So attention is everything. Nowadays, it's the currency of the future, and it's already here. So therefore, invest in the way you attract people to your product, to your service, to your outlet, and invest in your artistry and to your artistic tools, because by them, you can describe better what you got inside and kind of making that statement, because we have become identified brands, personal brands, right? And all these personal brands, all these 8 billion personal brands that are flying around in the ether, they all want attention. They all want a speck of our awareness. We are battling constantly for some time, right? Please. And so therefore, the better you are, the more quality you can put out there, the more value you can provide to the, let's say, performing community, the more attention you will receive back. So here's the thing that I can tell you. Why don't you come over to my website? It's readytoperform.com. You send me a direct message.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Sure,
say that again.
Sure. The mod is my beautiful wife and the mod of today, Alessandra, is gonna play. This is readytoperform.com.
Readytoperform.com. Okay.
Jump to the website, watch the videos, get an idea of what we do over here, and then also message me. Just send me a direct message. It's like we have free discovery sessions. Usually they're like half hour long, where we get to know each other. We see what you got, we assess what you want, and then I tell you who we are. And we have a bunch of different programs. And maybe one of those programs is the right fit for you in order to kind of improve, to bring this thing to the next level, to learn how the industry works nowadays, what is really crucial, what the future trends are, all these things, right? And maybe I can be your compass for a while to navigate you through these waters, to finally, get access to these roles and to, to these commercials that you want to get to. And once you've established yourself a little bit, it will be way easier. But I understand how hard it is sometimes to really get this product going, to really get, to kind of, push this vehicle forward. But usually once it's moving, it will receive more and more traction once you implement all the necessary measures to kind of, make sure that you will uphold the status quo. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And
So
I
definitely.
have some,
Please.
previously when in my childhood and that I did some dancing, and I'm going to go back into it. But yes, I need to be at the right places at the right time, maybe do some self-tapes. I do have some portfolio pictures that a friend of mine in photography did of me.
Do you have a monologue, like a theatrical or dramatic monologue on your portfolio already, like
No.
taped? That could be something we could also potentially work on. Like, let's study a monologue and tape that monologue so you have already something to show, right? Because it's always, and nowadays it's, the demand is it's high, but also a lot of offering. So like if let's say for the same role, there is a competitor to your role that has a piece of video already, like ready to launch and ready to show, like a minute of a monologue or something where they can see who this person is, how she acts, how she performs. That's a crucial advantage over someone who has nothing to show except maybe a couple of pictures. Right now, media is super important. So maybe you have some show reels or some reels on your Instagram. That is very cool already. Some videos where you kind of read a poem, a song, where you kind of perform a little bit or you talk about something interesting. But definitely I would add also a monologue to your portfolio nonetheless. So you have already, because a monologue shows always like, is this person able to tell me a story over a longer period of time? I give him 2 minutes, and is this person able to kind of, attract my attention? We have 9 seconds of average attention span nowadays, unfortunately, in the Western world. So if Linda is able to capture my attention for 2 minutes straight, that's a powerful sign. So if you are able to do that, to deliver such a crafted monologue, a theatrical monologue that really does that, that's definitely like a plus in your favor.
Okay, I will do that. I'm sorry, I missed the introduction. I apologize to everybody. I didn't get your name too, and everybody else. Well, I see everybody else's.
Oh, maybe because of the daylight savings, you thought about, no, because we started a while ago. We started at 12 p.m. Eastern. So.
Okay.
So, but definitely I will upload the replay. Don't worry, Linda. And you can check out on my YouTube channel, the COACHMC Studio. You can check out the previous master classes, because this is the final chapter of the Audition Tips Trinity. We had like this trilogy over the last 3 months where we talked about, the fundamentals of an audition, what we do during the reading. And today it was the aftermath, the slate, the callback, and the chemistry read, and everything that goes into that.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you to everybody.
Of course, thank you so much for stopping.
And there's Mary, there's Victoria. Hi.
The others sneaked out already, or maybe they had like an appointment or something. I just want to also invite you to jump onto our next masterclass. It's going to be the 27th, April 27th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is one of my favorite topics ever. It's script analysis. It's everything that we need to analyze in, like, how can we get the most out of our lines? What are we missing? What are we overseeing? What are we not paying enough attention to? Sometimes the details make the picture complete, right? And like a thorough, effective, and genuine text analysis gives you a competitive advantage over the other colleagues in the field that is massive. I feel like if I have to break down my my secrets to my modest but still kind of recognizable success. If I would tell you like what is one of my greatest keys, of course, besides my improvisation skill and my communication skill, I would definitely say text analysis. By analyzing really effectively and in a creative and also slightly unexpected way what's written there, and kind of adapting and transforming and putting something on top on my own and adding something that it's new. This is where I got the most recognition from casting directors. Not necessarily always booking the job, but getting remembered, leaving a legacy. And this is definitely highly recommendable to all of you guys. If you want to step up your acting game, your performing game, your public speaking game, text analysis is one of the the cornerstones, the foundations for sure. So make sure to check that out. It's completely for free again, so definitely you can register on Eventbrite through my Linktree on Instagram, and on through my other social media networks as well. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. It was a huge privilege having your time, sharing these instruments and getting to know you guys, new people coming in every time. And it's so great. Today we had somebody from Africa, Zambia coming in, and we had people from Europe, from Canada. It's always great. From Georgia, it's beautiful to have all these. Germany, thank you so much. It's just great what art can do, what the creative community can do. I wish you all the best for your endeavors. Implement those tools, get better, get greater, improve, and don't throw yourself out there, because maybe success is not instant. There is no such thing as instant and success. It's an oxymoron, right? Success is having control over your instruments. This is success. And then whatever the financial gratification, whatever the professional gratification or the social gratification may look like, it's a secondary product that will come naturally once you have success over your own method, over your own tools, over your own weapons. So success starts here, not there. Always focus on the internal, the external will follow. Because if you give too much a damn about what other people think of you, you lose your own compass, and we don't want that to happen. So thank you so much. See you with the next masterclass tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be joining Hypnotic's YouTube channel on YouTube. So definitely check me out there. I'm part of the, weekly entertainment roundtable, the Saturday Night Hypnosis. I'm there now for over a year. It's great fun. We bash bad entertainment. We create great entertainment. We analyze comic books, the latest currents and trends and showbiz. And then next Tuesday, open class doodles on my YouTube channel, the COACHMC Studio. It's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the legendary Dragon Slayer commentaries for our fourth round, I believe, of Greek mythology. So we went through the first age of the gods, through the age of heroes, through the labors of Hercules, the Iliad, and now we're talking about the Battle of Troy in our next open class doodles on my YouTube channel, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And next Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's going to be episode 21 of the Open Class Doodles, where we're going to have probably my man White from White's Metal again, where we're going to analyze songs and songwriting, which is also a super interesting topic. Talking about leaving a melody in the room and leaving a rhythmical pattern as well, and not just delivering information and bullet points. And if you want to join that, more than welcome to do so. It's also going to be live, so you can bring in your questions, your sweat, and your passion as well. Thank you so much to the mod today. Thank you, Alessandra. Thank you for everybody coming out. It was a great show. I enjoyed it thoroughly. See you with the next masterclass. And now, guys, you are ready to perform.